File handling in Python is a process of working with files, such as reading from our files. It allows you to manipulate files, retrieve data from there, and store information in files. We use file handling in Python for various purposes. One is reading and writing data. We can read data from our files to perform operations on it, or we can write data to our files for storing information. Two is handling large data. Files can be used to handle large volumes of data that might not fit in memory. By reading and processing data in batches, we can avoid memory constraints. Interaction with external systems. Files can be used to interact with other systems or programs that acquire input or read output from files. In this lesson, you learn how to open, read a file, and also write to a file. So first, let's check to see if a file exists or not. So we need to import the OS. So import OS. So it's a built-in library from Python. So make sure to import it first. So always make sure to have your import on top. So after that, we can then check to see if a file exists or not. So to do so, we can have an if statement. So if, then we can call the os.path. So .path dot exists, so exists with s at the end. Then you open your parentheses, then the path of your file. So the path is simple, the location of the file. So demo, I can have demo.txt, meaning the file. I'm checking to see if a file like that exists on my root directory, in which case which the file is not there. So I can have my column, then I can come down. So let me come down. Then I can parent, maybe file exists. File, sorry, let me remove this. So file exists. I can then have the else statement, else I can parent. So parent file do not exist. Can I spell exist? Exist. Okay. So if I run my code, hopefully we'll have file do not exist because we don't have that file. So we have file do not exist. So if I create the file, so click over here, then make sure to select this, your Python, and then click on the empty space over here so that you'll be able to create a file on your root directory. So make sure you don't have the file inside any of your folders over here. So make sure it's on the root directory of your project. So I can click the empty space. So make sure to click. So if you double click, then you can write your file, maybe demo.txt. So you can double click to create a file, or you simple click. So let me delete this. So let me delete it first. So, or you can close everything, then click on the empty space. Once you have everything highlighted like this, so it means you're on your root directory. So you can click over here to create your new file. I can have demo.txt. So now if I press enter and then I run my code again, we'll have file exists because we've just created the file. So watch what will happen if I send the file in any of the folders. So let me send it to our current folder over here. If I send it over there and then I run my code, so let me clear the output and run the code. If I rerun my code, we'll have file do not exist because the file is inside this folder, so it's not on the root directory. So make sure to have your file on the root directory. Let me move it back to my root directory over here. So now we have our file exists. So let me close everything. So next is opening the file. So how do we open the file? So let's open the file and put a couple of texts. So this is my first, so can I spell first? First line of codes. I love to write Python programs. So programs. And then we'll have happy, maybe happy coding. So happy coding like so. So if I save and then I head over to my main and then I'll try to open the file. So how do I open that file? So to open the file, I'll first of all check if the file exists before I try to open it. So I can copy this code above so that I'll not rewrite it again. and then I'll have this file exist remove over here. So if the file exists, then we'll try to open it. So I can initialize a variable called f, then I can call my open method. So we'll just write open, and inside this method, you can then pass a couple of parameters. So the first parameter is the location of your file, which is demo.txt because it's on the root directory. So demo.txt. And then the next is the method or the mode. The mode, so let me close everything. So in which case we want to read, right? So since we want to read or open the file, the mode is R. So you can just pass your R like so. So now if I try, so I can read all the lines. So let me read the first line first. So we can have first, so sorry, can I spell first line? Then I'll set it equals to, so if I call this f, then I can use the read line method. So read line, I spell read line, so read line, and then I can come and then I'll try to print first line. So first line. So this first line will hold our first line, which is this over here. So calling the read line will simply return the first line of the file. So if I run my code, hopefully we'll get the first line over here, which is this is my first line of codes. So watch what will happen if I duplicate this a couple more of times. So let me just remove the first line, and then instead of read line, I'll simple cut it, then I'll paste it over here. So I can duplicate this over here 3 times. So we have 3 lines of code, right? So if I duplicate it 3 times and then I try to run my code, we'll have our first line, we'll have our second line, and then we'll have our third line over here. So what if you have 100 lines of, maybe 100 lines of code over there, or 100 lines of text? So would you be printing 100 or maybe writing 100 codes to just print the whole lines? I think that will not be an ideal way. So to fix this, I can have I can have a variable called docs, then I'll set it equals to f, then I'll use the read lines. So these read lines will simply return a list of all the lines. So hopefully if I try to print my docs, so docs, and then I run my code, we have a list of all the lines in a Python list over here. Then we can iterate through the list to get our lines back. So what do I mean? So I can iterate with our for loops. So I can check for, I can just write for maybe for x in docs, I think so. Then I can try to print maybe x like so. So x. So now if I run my code, hopefully we'll have all the lines printed or returned to us over here. So we have, this is my first line. I love to write Python codes, and then we'll have the happy coding. So this is how to simply use the for loop to simply iterate the list returned by the read lines and then print all the lines from your file. So next is creating a file. So how do we create a file? So let's try to close our file. So it's an ideal way to always close your file anytime you are done. So we can have our else statement over here, just like we wrote the else statement for the for loops, and then we can close the file with f.close. So once we are done with the looping, we'll just close our file. So I can then come, so creating a file. So to create a file, we'll check to see if the file exists. So let me copy our code over here, then I'll paste it over here. So let's first of all check to see if the file exists. So I'll create a file, maybe demo2, I'm calling it demo2, and then I'll check to see if demo2 exists. Then I'll not create the file. So if it exists, I'll print file already exists. So file already exists. But if the file does not exist, so we'll have our else statement like so. So if the file does not exist, then we'll try to create the file. So in creating the file, we use the open. So just write open, and then so let's have our f first. So f is equals to open. Then I'll open my parentheses. Then the file location. So it's demo2.txt. So demo demo2.txt. So that's the file we are creating. So next is the mode. So the mode for creating a file is X. So you just pass X over here. So once you are done with creating your file, you can simple print. So maybe file created. So I can print a message, maybe file created. And then I can come down to close my file with f.close over here. So now we are checking to see if the file exists, then we'll print file exists. But if the file do not exist, we'll simply create the file. So watch what will happen if I run my code for the first time. We'll have file created, right? And then we'll have the file over here. So this is the file we've just created, demo2. But if I run my code for the second time, so if I run it for the second time, we'll have file already exists because we already created the file when we ran the first line, when we ran the first code. So let me clear my output and then I'll open back and then we'll try to append or override the content of our file. So how do we do so? So let me copy this and then I'll send it over here. So now we'll check if the file exists, then we'll try to write the content of the file. So I'll remove this and then I'll remove this. So here I'll print file do not exist. So file do not exist. Sorry if you are not seeing my writing. So I have file do not exist. So if the file exists, then we'll write to the file. So how do we write to the file? So there are two methods. We have the overwriting and then we have the appending. So first, let's start with the appending. So I'll open my demo2.txt file. Then I'll have a sentence over here. So maybe I love to write Python codes. So this is the text we have in our file. So I'll try to append another text to that file. So to do so, I will call my f, then I'll set it equals to, then I'll open, so open like so. Then I'll pass the location of my file, which is demo2.txt. So demo2.txt, right? So I'll pass the mode, and the mode over here will be A. So A for appending. So appending means just trying to add new content to what already exists in that file. And then I'll call the f.write. So f.write to write. So write. Then I can have another string. Maybe happy coding like so. So if I run my code, so let's close the file first. So always make sure to close your files once you open them. So f.close to close the file. So f.close like so. If I run my code and then I open my demo2 and then we'll have happy coding over here attached to our first sentence. So how about bringing this happy coding to the next line? So how do we do so? So I'll pass this backslash, then I'll put n over here, meaning new line. So I'm trying to escape a line. So if I run my code, let's make sure to remove the happy coding that already exists over there. Then I'll save, and then I'll go back here, and then I'll run my code. So if I run my code, hopefully, by hoping, we'll have our happy coding to the next line over here. So how about writing maybe several lines of text? So maybe I want to add 3 lines of text. So how do we do so? So I can call the dot write. So writing is so write lines. So write lines. And inside the write lines, I can pass a Python list. So I can have a list of all my lines. So the first line, I'll try to escape. So I'll have my backslash then n. So I'll write something like this is the second. Can I say second? So second line. And then we'll have our third line over here. This is our third line. And then we have maybe happy Python. So happy Python like so. So now if I run my code and then I open over here, we'll have all the lines appended over here. So let me open back my code. So another way to do this is to you remove the list over here. So let's remove the list and then we'll use the same write. So write like so. And inside the right, we'll have maybe this. So make sure there are three. So make sure to have three quotes over here. And inside these three quotes, then we'll write our lines of our lines. So let me just cut this. So let me cut everything from our demo 2. Then I'll paste everything over here. So let me try to make it to format it. So I'll try to escape everything. So N, and then let me select everything. So /N, like so. So now hopefully if I run my code, we'll have the same output back over here. So this is the same output we have. So this is another way to do so. So let me bring everything. Let me try to send this to format it very well. So, oh my God. So we have this like so. So if I run my code, we'll have the same things appended over here. The reason we are getting this code attached is because we have 4 of them over here. So I'll try to remove this one. So now let me move everything again, and then I'll run my code, then I'll open this. Then I think now we'll not